got 1 million views.
Celebrating over 1 million views. eRadioSA.com.
It is time for my favorite time of the week. Man, I just need Tech Thursday in my life every day. It's such a highlight. What a week it's been.
What a week.
And for you also, Kaine.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, the most difficult thing in the last week has actually been the temperature, which is an icy freezing every single day in here in Knysna. I mean, I think we have a very cold day today as well. But the good news is tech works really well the colder it is.
Yeah, well, except for yesterday, I kept losing internet. My internet is like a cat. It doesn't like getting wet.
No, tech also doesn't work so well once it get hit by the rain. We have some heavy rains as well.
Yeah, I think it's because it's line of sight. So yesterday it couldn't see the tower, and it was like, hey, where am I looking? Hey, but listen, interesting week again. I see, well, it just came in a couple of minutes ago. Eskom is threatening us with a load shedding again, but I mean, that you can understand. I mean, can you imagine how many heaters are running in this country right now, especially in Gauteng? It's snow all over.
Oh yeah, I mean, my mom actually just bought a couple, more like 100 heaters. They're all around the house. I mean, imagine power usage is high, but for those of us who are renting, who don't pay for electricity, now's the time to turn those heaters on. Don't struggle burning wood. Get that heater going, but then you get load shedded, so good luck with that.
And just as we talk about it, the alert just came in, people. The alert just came in.
From 4 until 9 tonight.
Stage, what's it, Kaine?
Stage 2,
Ooh.
load shedding.
Hello,
I mean,
everybody.
that's in an hour?
Yeah. Do you think they're going to cut us off?
That would be so disappointing.
I just want to check the schedule. While you start with the first story, I'll check the schedule. But yes, Stage 2 load shedding has just been confirmed 3 minutes ago from 4 o'clock this afternoon until at least 9 o'clock tonight.
At least they let us do the tech show.
Yeah, at least we can still do our show today. We saw this coming. Man, oh man. Kaine, what have you got for us? I think we're talking about Space Granny today as well.
Oh yeah, Space Granny went to space. So did Jeff Bezos. They didn't want him to come back. There's a petition for it.
There's a petition that they don't want the guy to come back to Earth.
Yeah.
Why?
Listen to this. So more than 185,000 people signed the petition to stop Jeff Bezos from returning to Earth right before he left. So he obviously went to space on Tuesday, and 185,000 people over a few different petitions have signed this. I don't know how it's going to work. They say Bezos, the founder of the space exploration firm Blue Origin, said on June 7 that he and his brother Mark Bezos would fly into space, and 3 days after Bezos' announcement, 2 petitions launched to try and prevent the billionaire's re-entry into Earth. So one of the highest signed petitions on change.org, which is actually a pretty big petition website, had 163,000 people sign the petition, which was labeled "Do not allow Jeff Bezos to return to Earth." They said billionaires, and this is on the petition, billionaires should not exist on Earth or in space, but should they decide the latter, they should stay there.
One of our listeners just said, we mentioned her on the show before, named Susan. She said she actually signed the petition. I think people were just doing it to be funny, actually.
I would have done it just as a joke.
If I knew about it, I would also actually sign it, because he kind of looks like he belongs in space, if we're being honest.
Drifting in orbit,
yes.
Just making Amazon calls.
But then I also feel sorry for him at the same time.
I would feel bad, you're so excited to go to space, and then you see 163,000 people think you should stay there. I mean, how would they even engineer that? Imagine he's just like, oh guys, we hit 150,000 plus petitions, I'm just going to step out here, you guys return to Earth, it'll be great. He even said some signatories gave a reason for signing the petition, which included comments such as, being let back into Earth is a privilege, not a right. Earth don't want people like Jeff, Bill, Elon, and other such billionaires. This appears to be also references to Bill Gates and Elon Musk. Another petition called Petition to Not Allow Jeff Bezos Re-Entry into Earth had about 22,000 signatures. I mean, it's a ridiculous petition, but I mean, it's quite funny in my opinion. I mean, it would never have come into fruition, but I think it was like a comedical kind of joke. I would have signed it just for the laughs, to be honest.
Same, yeah.
I think at least 50% of those signatures came from a joke, and then maybe 20% of those signatures came from people who didn't receive an Amazon product once or twice in their life. And others were just astronauts that were salty because they couldn't go up, you know.
but Space Granny, she pulled right through it, eh? She's still alive after everything.
Yeah, do you want to hear some more about Space Granny?
What
She's
a
actually
legend.
been involved in the aviation industry for
Yo.
quite some time. So the 82-year-old blasted into space, obviously alongside billionaire Jeff Bezos and an 18-year-old student. And the logic behind that was he wanted to take the oldest person into space and the youngest person into space. Miss Funk, or aka Space Granny, said, I didn't think I'd ever get to go up. She spent the past 6 decades trying to reach space. She trained to be an astronaut in the 1960s, but was overlooked for space flight for being a woman. And they were launched skyward on the New Shepard, a rocket developed by Jeff Bezos' firm Blue Origin. The craft traveled at nearly 3 times the speed of sound, reaching a height of nearly 100 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The capsule then returned to Earth using a parachute on a trip that lasted a little more than 10 minutes. As she exited the vehicle, Miss Funk gleefully spread her arms wide as a small crowd cheered. So she's actually had a passion for flying. She was born in New Mexico in 1939, and she had a lifelong love of aviation, taking her first flying lesson at age 9. Since then, she has logged, listen to this is crazy now, to get a private pilot's license, you need about 150 plus hours. And then to get a commercial pilot's license, I believe it's over 350 plus hours. Since she started flying, she has logged 19,600 flight hours across her career and taught more than 3,000 people to fly.
Yo.
At 21, she volunteered in 1961 for the Women in Space program, where she underwent rigorous physical and mental testing in the hope of becoming an astronaut. How cool is that? She spent, in 2010, $200,000 or 145,000 euros, or about 14 or 18 million rand in that time, on a ticket for Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic program. And Bezos had invited her as an honored guest on the flight earlier that month, sharing video on Instagram of him telling her the news. Check there, you can actually see a picture of the two.
Oh, cute, man.
She's quite cute, eh?
Oh, she's cute. Hey, listen, I'm not going to laugh at her anymore because a lot of respect for her. I mean, what she's done and what she's doing right now, I think that's incredible. And I'm so glad she actually went up now, you know?
Yeah.
It's a lifelong dream.
And she actually quoted, she said, like, you know, I really didn't expect to get the chance. And to log 19,600 hours,
fantastic.
Have applied to a space program since 1960. When you get to the age of 82, you just don't expect it to be possible. You spend a portion of your life savings to try and go with Richard Branson, buying a ticket on Richard Branson's space flight. She obviously really, really had a hankering to go to space.
Yeah.
And it's great to see and inspiring to see that she's done that, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who might be over 30, 40, 50, 60, even 70 who have a dream of going into space and think, you know, my time has passed. The opportunity has been wavered. But that's not the case, because she made it. She traveled 3 times the speed of sound. That's not like driving in your bucky down the road, you know. That's fast. As fast as a lot of G's, and she handled it quite fine. Came out perfectly fine, full health.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely incredible.
But if you've been waiting for so long and you die during that space flight, I mean, then at least you die, you know, doing something that you love and with a smile.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they must just bring her back to Earth.
It's like a warrior death. You know? Absolutely.
Yeah, go out with a bang, at least.
So, talking of bangs, did you know that keyless cars now make up half of all vehicles stolen, despite only 1% of cars on the road being keyless?
Yo.
Now, how is that for a statistic? Keyless cars now make up half of all vehicles stolen. Thieves using new technology to target owners with widely available signal relay devices that tricks the car into thinking the correct key is present by amplifying its signal. So they sit there with like a signal measuring device,
yes,
catch the signal, amplify it, and drive away in the car. Insurance claims for car thefts grew by 20% each year between 2016 and 2019, and keyless vehicles amounted for an ever-increasing proportion of claims, according to data from LV insurers. Tesla, Lexus, Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, Jaguar, and Land Rover cars are among the brands increasingly targeted by keyless car thieves. And I would want a keyless car, to be honest with you. I mean, you lose your key, you're finished, but most of the time there's some sort of device which you carry on your person that, once you walk up to your car, some of them unlock. When you get into your car, you can just push a button and start. It's seamless, but it's also seamless to steal, apparently.
So, and that device you should wear somewhere safe where nobody can get it. It's like in your underwear.
Oh yeah. Or just don't buy a keyless car. Stick to the mechanical key.
So, do you only get one key?
I believe you would have spare, but it's more like a token than a key.
Yeah.
It's like a little... Have you ever had those tokens you use to open gates?
Yes.
It's like something like that.
Okay, so they need to be together. But I mean, that can also go really wrong. Imagine it just one day decides it doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
And you can't go home.
Apparently keys, even a traditional key, I mean, you lose your key for your car, you're paying money to get that key.
It's a massive amount.
It's not cheap.
And what if you put it next to a magnet or something and it wipes out like what happened? That happened to me at a hotel once. I kept it next to a magnet or a card or something, and it just it was near a magnet and it just wiped my hotel card. I couldn't get in.
At least that's a bit easier to get a new key. But I imagine, if you're just a guy who has a car, you can't just walk into a car dealership and say, hey, Mr. Locksmith car guy, can you just get me this key for this car? Because that car itself could be stolen. So you have to go through a process, preferably with the dealership that you bought the car or with the make of the car, like registered brand, in order to do that.
I'm glad you're bringing up cars now, because I have some good news regarding cars.
Ooh, what's the news?
Uber is coming.
Uber's here.
Yeah.
In Eisner.
In the garden route.
My friend ordered an Uber yesterday.
Yes.
How cool is that?
Do you know about it?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, but I know they're still looking for drivers. They want more drivers.
Yeah, that's the secret sauce right there.
Yeah, so how awesome that we now have Uber. I don't know what they're charging.
I might sound ungrateful, but where's Uber Eats?
Yes, where's Uber Eats?
Bring that first. Then I will drive around. I don't have anywhere to go. It's COVID. I got nowhere to go. I only want food.
Yes, but it's nice, eh?
It's super nice.
I'm very pleased. I just hope it's sustainable, and I think people are always looking for ways to make money.
You know what my worry is? Know when you're in Cape Town, you got to go 14 kilometers. Well, you pay $80, $100. Eisner is 15 kilometer square radius. You're gonna pay very cheap for that transport. I mean, even from Eisner to Sedgefield, for example, is a traditional route in Joburg. For an Uber. And not everyone goes between Eisner and Sedgefield. Not everyone goes between Eisner and Plett, although there's a large portion of it. But we also have to remember that a taxi, not like a traditional Bolt taxi, like the taxis that we see on the road, the big combis, they cost 20 Rand to go from Eisner to Plett, for example. So Uber is gonna have to come in at a price range which is better or slightly more expensive than a taxi or a combi, but still not so expensive to be ridiculous, because some of the transport places here, like Benny's cabs and all of that stuff, it can be quite expensive. It can be like 150 Rand if you're going somewhere at night into town and back 7 kilometers or so.
Have you used it before?
Benny's, yeah, and some of the other ones like Eden cabs, and they all charge high prices. So is it worthwhile for that driver of that existing vehicle to now go and do Uber?
Yeah, but I know also why it's so expensive, because they come with this massive bus and they just pick up one person and it's just you sitting in the back all alone, and that guy needs to fill his tank just for you. So kind of, if it's a group, it's going to help.
But now we see the side hustles start,
Yep.
Part-time doctor, part-time Uber driver. That's how it is in other cities. You know? It's going to happen.
A lot of people have side hustles right now to survive. It's not just 9 to 5 anymore. It's now 9 to 5 and then 5 to 9 again.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely.
Work all the time.
But, I mean, if you think about it in terms of COVID safety, taxis are especially kind of dangerous. Not the combi ones, but, you're getting into a car that's had 20, 30, 50 different people in the last week.
Exactly.
Maybe 100 different people in the last week if it's busy enough. You can get 25, 35, 50 trips a day. That's 350 trips a week. That could be that's a bit risky. So I would like to see Uber in general showing way more COVID safety regulations and see how they deal with that. They might even put a guard between the driver, because the driver is the common denominator that's the most dangerous. You can sanitize the whole car, but the driver is exposed to every single person in there.
Now if I get in, I'll spray the driver.
See, they put his hands out for hand sanitizer, just hit him in the face.
I'll spray that guy all over, man.
Have you ever put hand sanitizer on your face?
No, it must burn.
If you just think, oh shucks, do I have something on my face? If you just touch it with some hand sanitizer, it's going to turn to clay brick. It's just dry.
Really?
Dry. It's not good for you. So
no, it's not. It's all alcohol.
I would like an alternative that does that. Even soap. You go get some Dettol. Or even if you go and get like a traditional bar of soap, which is like Protex or all the generic, I think Lifebuoy is another one.
Yes.
Put that on your face, you're gonna get wrecked. You're gonna dries out your face. You're gonna become like a Mari biscuit basically. It's so dry. So I would like to see some facial
Mari
versions
biscuit.
Of it.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
So speaking of interesting facts, did you know Ramaphosa's phone number was leaked on spyware database?
I saw that, yes.
But there's a lot more to the story.
Oh, really?
So listen to this. Mobile numbers of Cyril Ramaphosa, French President Emmanuel Macron, and other world leaders have been identified in a leaked database that forms part of the Pegasus project. The Pegasus project is an international investigative journalism effort that aims to reveal spying abuses by various governments on journalists, politicians, activists, business people, and others using NSO's group's Pegasus spyware. The NSO group is an Israeli technology firm whose spyware enables the remote surveillance of smartphones, and it was officially marketed by surveillance of serious criminals and terrorists. So this technology, which is supposed to be used for surveillance of serious criminals and terrorists, has also revealed personal numbers of world leaders.
Sure.
That's not criminals and terrorists, although some political leaders are a bit iffy, but it's still not a serial killer or a terrorist or even a criminal. The appearance of a number on the leak list does not mean it was subject to an attempted or successful hack, The Guardian said, but the list is believed to be indicative of individuals identified as persons of interest by government clients of NSO. So Cyril Ramaphosa, French president, are all people that are persons of interest who have somehow got the spyware onto their phone and are actually being surveillanced, which is pretty hectic. No one is safe. It includes people who were later targeted for surveillance, according to forensic analysis on their phones. In addition to Macron and Ramaphosa, other political figures whose numbers appear in the list include Tedros, I don't know how to say that, the World Health Organization's director, Charles Michael, the president of the European Council, and Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan. The backlash to the spying allegations has already been swift, with Amnesty International condemning NSO Group and its software. The unprecedented revelation that the phones of at least 14 heads of state may have been hacked using the group's Pegasus software, and it should send a chill down the spines of world leaders, said the Amnesty International's Security General. And that's very true, no one is safe. And if it's so easy for a world leader's phone to be basically surveillanced, how hard is it for a traditional person?
Very easy, yeah.
Very easy. These people must have certain levels of awareness when they're using their phone, not to click links, not to go on personal emails of fictitious emails, not to just click on a WhatsApp broadcast link. They must have all of these provisions in place in order to not pick up spyware, and somehow the spyware enters onto their phone and they're being surveillanced. I mean, that could include messages that they send to other people, photos that they take, calls that they have, their active microphone while they're not using their phone. I mean, it's pretty scary, actually.
You know what else is scary?
What's that?
You can go to jail, Kaine.
How?
If you send any messages, the government, okay, let me just start at the beginning. The government has issued a stern warning to the public about not sending voice notes, tweeting, or posting messages that may incite public violence. Now, we've had that last week with the unrest in KZN and Gauteng.
Typical government. send a message out to the whole population that if you send these messages, but the people sending the messages are not the population, it's select few people.
Exactly.
That's quite.
So, but anyway, if you get these voice notes and it says, hello, I'm Frikkie, and I just heard tonight they're going to close the N2.
Oh, yeah, new lockdown laws, level 17.
Yeah, and he sounds like he's up there and he's got all these contacts and everything, and then people start circulating Frikkie's message, you see?
Yes.
Because it sounds like the real deal. We don't know really who is the guy talking there. He's not Frikkie.
So can the circulators go to jail?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
You need to build bigger prisons.
So, that's also why you can only forward a WhatsApp message a specific amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
Because then it says, you can sometimes, have you seen on top of it, it says forwarded many times or something.
Yes.
And you can see there's a kind of a limit. It's to not encourage people to just gooi the messages.
To everything. Because it used to be that you can add people into a broadcast list. You could have like 150 people.
And that was so annoying. Thank God they stopped it.
Yeah. No.
But so if you send messages, especially inciting violence, you could actually go to jail. And we're not talking a few months or just a fine. You could sit there for up to 3 years.
Damn.
And good. I mean,
they have
I'm
to
glad
lock
because
it down somehow.
I mean, look at the businesses or what's left of them. You know that they stole actual radio stations in KZN.
How do you steal a
radio
radio
station? They literally
station?
stole the radio
put it on the
station.
bucky and drive off with it.
Yes.
What? The antenna or what? How do you steal a radio station?
No, man. No, Kaine. They just go into the studio and they take all the equipment.
Oh, okay.
and you can't broadcast without equipment, right?
No.
So that's what they do. They drive off with your equipment. And I mean, that stuff is up to, when you're a big station, it's up to millions. It's a station called Alex FM in was it Gauteng, I think, and they just looted it completely. They left the table.
I heard somewhere that about 167 Pick and Pay stores got looted.
Sure. And even just that station was 5 million rands worth of equipment. I mean, that stuff, you don't buy it overnight.
Do you think that a crowd of aggravated people are like roaming through, let's hit the Pep, let's hit the Pick and Pay, let's hit the Woolworths, let's hit Incredible Connection, a radio station, let's hit it? Or do you think it's more like, guys, I know what we can hit? That's the radio station. There's good equipment there. Someone with knowledge would have to instigate something like that. You must know that there's good equipment
but
in there.
But the funny thing is, but usually you can see into a studio. They usually have glass windows and you're like, oh. But a lot of the equipment is specialist equipment and you can't use it without a broadcasting license. So what are you going to do with it? Who are you going to sell it to?
Well, I guess some of that equipment, but also, you don't just take 7 mics and all that stuff and just use it. Like you need a sound interface.
Yeah.
You need all of these the
some of the stuff.
equipment.
I mean, they took the transmitter and everything. You can't just take a transmitter and use it anywhere.
Just driving down the road, you tune into 87.6 FM, and it's like some guy. Hello? Is this?
Yes, bloody pirates. Pirate radio.
It's like that video we talked about last week where the guy stole the Steers TV and he couldn't change the channel from burgers.
Yeah, he's been watching burgers all morning. Why is he only seeing burgers on that TV? That's quite hilarious, actually.
We can always laugh, eh?
Yes.
We can always laugh. Do you want to hear something else interesting? Is
it funny?
Well, it's definitely contradictory. Tesla will most likely accept Bitcoin as payment again. I mean, this is the funny thing, right? So 2 months ago or something, Tesla said, Elon Musk says, no, Tesla will no longer accept Bitcoin because it has a large carbon footprint. Bearing in mind that Bitcoin doesn't have a large carbon footprint, the people who mine Bitcoin and have chosen to use fossil fuel as the power method of choice, they are the ones at risk. But 2 months later, he comes up again. He says, okay, we might start accepting Bitcoin as payment again. But Bitcoin back then was $60,000 when he said, no, we're not going to use it. And now it's at $30,000 again, and he says we're going to use it again. If I was in the boardroom, I probably wouldn't have raised the concern, but I can imagine in the Tesla boardroom, you're openly at marketing Bitcoin. So what's happening? People are listening to what you're saying and they're buying Bitcoin. So now you're accepting Bitcoin for payments for your cars, and Bitcoin's price doubles over the 3 weeks, 4 week threshold that you've made these announcements and that you've instigated buying incentive, right? Now you're considering, okay, we're still accepting our Bitcoin for our cars, but Bitcoin is overbought. So if Bitcoin has a crashing, right, there's something that happens, something that instigates a big crash, Tesla loses money on all the cars that they've sold while Bitcoin was overbought. So if Tesla turns around, and this is all just conspiracy, if Tesla turns around and says, okay, we can't keep promoting this coin becoming more and more expensive because we might end up losing money. So if we reverse the market trend and cause a downward cycle so that Bitcoin can retrace a bit and then accept Bitcoin again, the likelihood that they lose money becomes a lot less. And when I read these things, this is what I'm thinking about. I'm like, okay, well that's odd. 2 months later, suddenly there's not enough that's happened in terms of Bitcoin going green to say, okay, we're considering it again. It's a possibility for us. So, I look at this stuff and I think, wow, it's just an oddity. That's contradictory, and the market is in favor of what you're saying. It's not like Bitcoin is going green and the market is bad or good. The market is the Bitcoin as a green solution is the same place it was sort of 2 months ago, and suddenly you're reconsidering while the price is retraced. That's what kind of makes me feel like that conspiracy theory is a bit odd. Very, very strange. But talking about cool things, South Africa's one firm has decided to help Pfizer make COVID-19 vaccines.
I saw that.
And this is where it gets quite interesting, because there's apparently a lot of turmoil in terms of intellectual property rights for the production of vaccines. And I thought to myself, if a company in South Africa is going to be making vaccines, they kind of have access to that secret intellectual property formula for how to generate that RNA vaccine. But the reality is the RNA version of the vaccine, the very complicated process to create the RNA version of the vaccine and to do that thing is going to be done out of South Africa. So South Africa will receive like a raw ingredient, basically, that they then synthesize into the vaccine.
Okay.
But let's take a look at this. So Pfizer and BioNTech have struck a deal for South Africa's BioVac Institute to help manufacture around 100 million doses a year of their COVID-19 vaccine for the African Union. The firm said on Wednesday the deal is to fill and finish the vaccine. The final stages of manufacturing, where the product is processed and put into vials, it does not cover the complicated processes of mRNA drug substance production. So as I said, this is where the product is going to be put into vials via the final stages. It's not start to finish. So that's an important thing to recognize, because that is obviously where the intellectual property rights come in, and also very important information about how that vaccine is created, because I have not a cooking clue how they go about creating and synthesizing this vaccine. And I can imagine it's complicated, but I just didn't find that information anywhere available. The agreement comes as Pfizer and BioNTech try to sway World Trade Organization members from supporting a waiver on some intellectual property rights for COVID-19 vaccines. It will make BioVac a joint venture between the South African government and private sector partners, one of the few companies in Africa processing and distributing COVID-19 shots, and the first to do so using the mRNA technology. South African pharmaceutical company Aspen has a fill and finish deal with Johnson & Johnson for its viral vector COVID-19 vaccine. African countries have some of the lowest vaccination rates worldwide, and many are dependent on global vaccine sharing schemes, or COVAX, which has struggled to deliver thus far. They're going to try and output about 100 million doses, and there will be about 200 million rand, or 13.6 million rand, added as a shared investment in the coming 6 months from South Africa. So some money obviously going in there. But I thought, wow, it's a great thing that obviously we can help aid Africa in its effort to get vaccines. I mean, I was looking at a geographical shot the other day of what places in Africa and what percentage of the population have access to electricity. And if you just look at those numbers, South Africa at about 78%. Then you got Lesotho and Soweto. Lesotho kind of at 37%.
Yeah.
Then you have like Egypt at like 60%, and you have some places all over Africa below 20%
Shame.
worth of access to electrical energy. And here we are, trying to consider how much of these people have access to vaccines. It's not a good number. It's not a good number. To even keep a vaccine at the right temperature requires electricity. You're not going to use ice to kind of keep it at the right temperatures. Africa's hot as hell.
Yes.
So it's quite a struggle to figure out how to actually do that. And one of the organizations that were created was COVAX, which was to supply places who would struggle to basically fulfill their whole population being vaccinated, not even considering that some places in Africa don't even know how many people live there and where they live. So it's definitely a complicated struggle, but it's good to see South Africa at least coming up with an initiative to help do that. And we're right here in the heart of it, in the heart of the African solution for vaccines, if vaccines aren't a bad thing. But if they're a good thing, we're doing well.
It's everybody's got a different opinion about it, eh? It's like religion, like I said last week. But anyway, you're going to be very pleased to know that WhatsApp group calls now allow users to join at any time during the call. Did you know that?
Oh, that was a big problem.
Was it for... Okay, I was thinking, because you're always on these group calls with all your clients and people, and obviously it's a problem. It's been a problem for you. So previously all the users would have to stand at attention, ready to join the call the moment it started. Oh man, that's so old-fashioned. And those who missed the call would be dialed in by other participants, but they would have to be redialed to join the call if they missed a dial in. Now anyone with an invitation can join a call in any time or at any time by going to their call log and clicking on the join button. That's going to help, right?
Here's an interesting thing for you to think about, right? So obviously this functionality was already available on Signal, for example. Once a call starts, you can join back into the call.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to think, over the last, say, from a year or two ago, from say 2015 to 2019, we didn't see a lot of changes happening on WhatsApp, to be quite honest. Very
nothing
little.
Major.
Nothing major. But as soon as there's competition and they provide functionality,
and
then WhatsApp adopts it. WhatsApp provides functionality, Signal adopts it. And this
competition's good, man.
It's good.
It encourages change.
One day I won't even have to answer my phone to be on a phone call. It'll just be there. A hologram will just project, and I'll see my friend
whoever's calling you. Oh, that's pretty cool. Listen, what is the story about Africa's first university that's going to launch an online high school platform? I mean, we also spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, where universities are completely online nowadays, with the students not being able to go. They don't really want to go to class for obvious reasons. So what's it all about? How's it going to work now? Is it all going to be online? Is it going to be like one big Zoom call or Teams meeting?
It's a very good question. So the University of Cape Town obviously launched the university-based, and the keyword here is online high school. It's for grades 8 to 12, which obviously is something we haven't seen. We haven't seen a learning environment dedicated to between a high school students for online learning. Most schools had an online learning center, but never a school basically dedicated to online learning. And the real amazing thing about this is a monthly fee of 2,000 Rand is the entry cost.
Okay.
Which turns out to about 26,000 Rand a year annually. I mean, it's not bad. There are some, when you go to a public school, most of the time it's free in South Africa to attend public school for most people. So 2,000 Rand is a little bit high, but they do offer a range of things. So the university said that learners will benefit from a supported self-discipline model, which allows them to pace their own learning while receiving one-on-one tutoring from expert teachers and support coaches whenever they need it. Now, I'm taking that with a grain of salt, because I don't think we're seeing a traditional class environment here where 30 learners are listening to a lecturer. I think it's going to be more like 1,500 learners are all going through a course, and there are dedicated staff and tutors and coaches that are made available on request for one-on-one kind of interactions. And it kind of makes sense because it would be a handful to, a traditional school doesn't have 500 employees.
Yeah.
You would
imagine
need to
all
find
those
a way.
kids and then all talking across each other, and then what would you do if they're naughty? Do you just cut them off, or how does it? Or do you just mute them?
Now, if you take it back to the normal class environment, there's 25 kids in a class,
Yes.
a teacher talking in the front, lecturing all of them, and you have two friends in the back corner, like whispering to each other. Can you just imagine that on a full classroom setting? Everyone can just hear this conversation happening.
Exactly.
I wonder what it's going to be like. But the other thing, obviously, is the difference between being in a classroom and being active is, if you were playing on your phone or using a Rubik's Cube or, drawing on your desk or just in general distracted, very easy to pick up and notice. Very easy for someone to pick up on the fact that you're not concentrating or you're asleep, But in a traditional classroom lecture environment that might be on something like Zoom, I imagine it's much easier to kind of hide away, I if I was still in school and that was happening, I'd start figuring out ways for me to basically have me on, if it's a video-based environment, to have me on loop in some fashion.
Exactly.
So that I look active, and
That's
then I'm
clever.
not even doing the thing. I'm like out with my friends.
Exactly.
I'm just
It's
sitting,
pre-recorded, but it shows you sitting there and you pretend to listen
and
and,
it
write.
nod. You put your hand up. Okay, great. You start fake writing.
And nobody notices.
No one will know.
That's actually pretty.
I can't wait to see the
clever.
loopholes that come up, because that's the intelligent learners right there. Actually, if you can spoof your interest in a classroom, although you won't learn anything, you got to have a pat on your back. That guy might be 14 or 15 or 16. Clocking a full distraction. I think could be quite exciting. But most importantly, I think the best thing to keep in mind, especially with an online learning environment that isn't super heavily enforced by the parents, in a traditional school environment, we're there from 8 till 2:30, and
Used to be 1:30 when I was still in school,
and the sum total of your work might be low.
And 1 o'clock on Friday. That was the best. 7:30 till 1. Fridays at 1. Oh, man.
But in a traditional day of
it.
school, when you're going from classroom to classroom, you might just be waiting for the end of the day. You have no goal. You have no, motivation to be hyper focused and take all your notes down. You might be writing, but you're not concentrating.
Yeah.
I think a lot of time is wasted in a traditional classroom environment.
Absolutely.
Going from lesson to lesson.
Absolutely.
Most
You're so
people are
right.
studying for the last week of every term.
Yeah.
And that's all the studying that happens. They're not studying every day when they go home or studying in the classroom.
Or just copying each other's homework, for God's sake. Yeah, it is a waste of time. You're right.
Being online gives you the opportunity to work for 45 minutes, go eat for an hour and a half, go play with your friends, come back, work for 45 minutes. You don't have the time-based derivative whereby you're only able to learn between 8 and 2. If you're not concentrating during that period, it's all lost. So here, a learner can be learning at 9 p.m., 10 p.m.
Yeah, it's nice and flexible.
Can wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, you see.
I think it could really make a big difference. And with the way that we're going, people, when they start reaching 16, are actually capable of working for a company. They're capable of doing work and earning money.
Yeah, so you can do that as well.
Yeah, you could be a 17-year-old social media manager,
Yeah.
and
Exactly,
still
yeah.
learning at school.
Exactly.
For one little company there on the side, or your mom's business, or whatever the fashion is going to be. But it gives you an opportunity to get into the real world environment faster. Because you can't get in the real world environment at school.
That's a very good
Interesting,
point.
eh?
Yeah.
Might be worth
What
going
a
to
time
online
to
school.
what a time to be alive.
Where do I sign up? Can I start at grade 8? See how quick I can go to grade 12.
And if you're naughty, then they're gonna transfer everybody into a different classroom called detention, and then you're all just sitting there alone. Oh wow. Kaine, and that's it for today, right?
Correct, yeah, that's everything. I mean, I think it's been a fantastic Tech Thursday week, other than the load shedding surprise.
Yeah.
Did you find out any more information
Well,
about that?
no, we're not affected here in this area for today.
Okay.
Nothing, or tonight, nothing.
eRadio is still operational.
Yes, but we will be anyway if it goes down, because we have a cloud, man. We have a backup cloud.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, Eon, thanks so much for having me. It's been another great week. I can't wait to follow up some of these items from last week that we didn't get to touch on this week, like Netflix's gaming and things like that. I'm sure there'll be some developments by next week.
Yeah, it looks like there could be a price increase. I saw that somewhere. Yeah, I don't know how much, just a small one, but
Netflix shares are going down,
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah, I think the how much you could have earned per share that you have between, I think it was May and this month, is about $3 per share. That's not that much, actually. It's okay.
I keep getting these ads on YouTube saying, "Hey, why just watch Netflix when you can invest in Netflix?" And then you will get money back and stuff. Is that for real?
You definitely get paid by owning shares in a company. You definitely get paid because that's how it's like a security token of crypto.
But can I get paid just to watch Netflix?
You know what? Some app that someone made that would be really cool.
Yes.
If you just applied it to your real life. It's basically an app that allows you to, if you go and shop at Pick and Pay or Musica. Shame they're gone.
No.
Any kind of place where you're an active user in, it gives you the opportunity to buy that stock. So you go to KFC, you can buy KFC, and that's really how today's people should be thinking. Where do I go shop a lot? What do I rely on in my life? If I rely on this place, or I shop a lot at this place, or all my friends shop at this place, or I spend 8 hours a day watching Netflix, buy some shares. Invest in the company.
Invest.
That's how you turn your knowledge in your own lifestyle into money.
Yeah.
Because you yourself will know whether this is something that's getting better and better or worse and worse. For me, Netflix is getting worse and worse because the shows are just either I watch too much Netflix, which I don't think I do, or the shows.
You watched all the good stuff, then there's nothing left.
Exactly.
That's my problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that might be a sign that maybe it's not worth investing into Netflix unless they're launching something like gaming. Then it might.
And that's why they're doing that now.
You see what I'm saying? So applying that logic into your day-to-day life, you could be a wealthy person one day.
Yeah, I wonder if Showmax is going to come up with something, competing with the gaming. Guess the load shedding time or something. Some kind of game.
Something out of this world. Like, what would be a really good thing for Showmax to do? Maybe Netflix actually took the role there quite quickly. The next best thing is gaming, renting games. You look at a traditional video store, you could rent games. Yeah.
Yeah.
But mobile games, I think Netflix might be targeting. Mobile games.
Yeah.
Go on Netflix on your phone, the app's there, and play some mobile games. Hopefully it's not Snake, or Minesweeper. Let's get some good games.
Pac-Man,
and arcade games. People might actually, maybe that's the way to go because people really like those games. Those games keep you online a long time.
Yeah, just a bit of a modern twist, obviously.
Not like Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions or something ridiculous, some very bad quality game.
Kaine, thank you so much as always. Till next week, Thursday.
Absolutely.
At 3 o'clock. Have a lacquer rest of your week.
Thanks, Eon. Thanks for having me.
Catch you next week. Cheers, man.
Bye-bye.
Your systems are offline.
eRadio Live, powered by TCS Wi-Fi.